You are watching the Doctalk show.
The role of the National Drug Authority is to ensure that all drugs within the country are safe for public consumption, they are quality tested, and they are efficacious for the treatment of various diseases. So I want to know, what should one do? What things should one watch out for when acquiring drugs from the pharmacy? It could be with a prescription, or if you're buying an over-the-counter drug. What things should you watch out for when buying drugs from a pharmacy or drug shop? So, Dr. Brand, maybe I'll start with you. What tips can people watch out for?
I'll talk about the commonest drugs we use in our market, the antibiotics. It's common scenario that we go and say, give me the yellow and red capsule. Give me the blue and white capsule. Most of these are antibiotics. But it's important to know that these medicines are not supposed to be just bought over the counter.
They are which class? They fall under which
these,
class?
as per the classification that Dr. James gave it, they are Class B medicines. And it's important that you have a prescription before you can access them. Because of their safety profile. Safety profile, I mean the extent to which they are useful vis-a-vis being a poison. Well and good, I have my prescription. And I've been told to go to a pharmacy. You walk into a pharmacy, and they will tell you, you see, this one, UK, India, that. Now, that's an issue of practice that as a national regulator, we may not go much into it, though we can advise the other professional councils on how to manage such a situation. But when you get into a pharmacy and they present you a medicine, one of the things you need to look out for is this medicine that has been issued to me. What do you look at? Look at the labeling. Is it in English? Can you read for yourself? If the product does not have an English version of anything of its label, I would request that you desist from such a product. Two, if you're looking at a product and you find, let's say, there's what they call a blister pack. A blister pack looks something like this. If you find that when they issue this product and you turn on the other side and one of the things is open, please desist from taking such a product, because that means something is not right with that product.
It has been opened before.
Yes.
It has been compromised.
If you're buying a syrup, we buy so many syrups for our children, and you find that the seal is broken, please desist from buying such a product. I mean, as the patients are, so let's also be careful on what it's not about what they give and you take. No, you also look out for the simple things.
So they have to check the medicines.
You have to check them. I mean, at least look at the simplest, which is labeling. Let it be in English. You ask as much questions as possible. The pharmacists who stand in our pharmacies today, I know for a fact that if you ask, they'll answer. You won't be disturbing them. You won't be irritating them. You ask, they'll answer. Ask if you don't understand. If he says 2 times 3, you ask, what does it mean 2 times 3? Many of us think...
And what time they should take it.
Many of us think we say 2 times 3, I can take the 6 once and I'm done. No, ask, what do you mean by 2 times 3? Get all this information, because I'll tell you, because medicines are unique products, you're going to find that the medicine with the wrong information becomes a poison. Medicine with the right information is useful. So let's be able to know for ourselves, but then let's also ask. Ask the tough questions. Why, if someone tells you this is from this part of the world, this part of the world, this is the cost. Ask, why is there a difference in cost? Does it mean this one is more effective or not? Please ask. And if they can't give you a satisfactory answer, please, I would advise you walk out. Get the answers before you take your medicine. One of the things that aids the healing process is knowing what you're treating and how you're treating what you're treating.
Exactly.
So that's what I could talk about purchasing.
Okay.
So the thing is, and then the other thing, make sure that wherever you enter, no one should stop you from asking. Look for an NDA license, valid.
Dr. William, regarding expiries, what can you advise people to watch out for? Expiry. How can they check expiries? How can they read those dates? Because sometimes it's confusing. The pharmacist or the person selling the drug may not tell them that this drug is still good or this drug is about to expire.
Yeah, one of the requirements of labeling is that every medication, the manufacturing and expiry dates, inclusive of even usually batch numbers, are clearly shown. That's the purpose of labeling. You can do quick checks. For example, if it's a syrup, the label on the bottle has that information. Check it. The greatest challenge usually comes to blister packs. Usually there is what we call this primary pack in which this blister fits. Yes. That box should have that information, the manufacturing date, expiry date, and the batch number. All right? But we've gotten instances where some people sell these blisters without the primary pack, that box. Now, so obviously, it would be important that you also check the blisters. Now, some are labeled differently. Some have laser printing. You can easily see the information in maybe purple or blue or black. Now, for others, the information is usually either at the bottom of the blister here or maybe at the top, depending. All right?
How is it written?
So usually they will do the date, month, and year. Okay? So people have to keenly check for that. In the event you find that the product that is being dispensed to you is expired, inform them, and please don't usually keep this information to yourself. Also inform the National Drug Authority. Now, I know we are talking to Ugandans spread all over the country. We do have a number of regional offices. If you are in, say, Arua, you don't have to drive all the way to Kampala. We do have offices in Arua. We have offices in Lira. We have offices in Jinja, Tororo, Hoima, Mbarara, and Kampala. We also, if you go to our website, we have toll-free lines. You can post that information there. For those of you who are social media savvy, you can get to Twitter, get to Facebook, let us know. And we follow these up. Because at the end of the day,
expired drugs being sold
yes,
at the pharmacies or drug shops.
Or drug shops.
Okay. So regarding quality of drugs, Dr. Brown, you mentioned some drugs are more expensive than others. It gives the impression that they have different qualities. Yet they are of the same class of drugs. Maybe it's an antibiotic A, but maybe a product from one country X is more expensive than a product from country Y. Why is there that difference in the price?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. I'll go back a little bit just on the products you have to buy. I've seen several people come through and sell you a blister, and the part that has the expiry date, they cut it off. And you take one that doesn't have the expiry date. Please ask. Let them show you the other part that has the expiry date. Because you never know, it could be expired and they're giving you the part where you can't read. Please check. Make sure that you're buying a product that is within the expiry date. The other thing I've heard that the expired product can take some months after it's expired. As a regulator, we don't believe in that. If they said that past this date, this product is not good for consumption, please do not consume it past that date.
Okay.
Now, variation in prices. Yes, this happens and it happens, but we look at a scenario that many of these products come from different environments, and the regulatory environments from which they come require different quality assurance measures, some of which may be at a higher cost as compared to other environments. The reason we find that the cost of production of these products in these areas tends to be higher than it is in other areas. So you're going to find that the same product, but some product having different prices. And even sometimes the mode of movement of these products, you find that in some environments, they are very careful on how the products move from point A to point B. That is point from where they're manufactured to Uganda. And others move in a different mode of transport. So all those factors put together, they cause a very big discrepancy in price. And as a country, we've not yet regulated price of medicines. So for now, we still have those variations in price.
Okay, so but, it doesn't necessarily mean that that type of drug is
it's not a guarantee that being more expensive is better quality. It's just that the process through which these products get onto our market.
Okay, so that's a good explanation on why the prices of drugs tend to vary in the market. Doesn't mean that the most expensive drug is the best drug. It might be other factors that may be involved in the transport of the drug from its source to you, the consumer. So after the break, we'll come back into understanding a bit more about storage of drugs. How should drugs be stored, and whether injections are better than tablets? A very common question that people like to ask. Don't go away.
You are watching the Doctalk Show.